For 5 years, film crews circled the globe, traveling to 400 different destinations to create a landmark television series. Now, go on location to explore some of the most remote, the most extreme places, revealing an unprecedented view of planet Earth. To capture the courting display of the elusive bird of paradise, it took one cameraman and endless patience.
We'd done lots of research, the birds were there, we were there at the right time, we had the right field assistance. You know, we put up the hides 2 weeks before we arrived. We did everything possible to make it easy for ourselves. And I don't think any of us thought that it was going to be quite as difficult as it was.
In the bird's jungle home, Planet Earth crews also found a people who were equally exotic.
The Huli Wigmen. They're a fantastic people. When you enter their terrain and the terrain of the birds of paradise, it has a wonderful lost civilization feel to it. There had to be a lot of negotiations. There's no policing out there. There's no police force as you and I would understand it. So, though the people are lovely and friendly when they know you, any breach of what they take to be a rule or a sort of a personally enforced law brings personal retribution down upon you very quickly.
A Huli expert guides the crew to promising locations.
Okay, so he moves around a bit.
But getting there is a challenge. From bad weather to bad bridges, this will be no easy shoot.
I don't think that's going to support the truck.
Just as difficult is the bird itself.
Birds of paradise are very choosy about the conditions they use to display. They don't like it too wet, they don't like it too windy, they don't like it too dry, they don't like it too sunny.
We did realize, like 2 or 3 weeks in, that it was going to be extremely challenging. In order to achieve it, he was just going to have to do the hours.
The waiting begins.
There was the irony, if you like, the great prolonged series of boredom where you can almost enter a trance-like state is then interrupted by a sudden shot that the birds arrived. The bird went into its display posture facing away from me, and then it turned around, and I had no idea it was going to do that. And if you see the shots, it's this little bird with a smiley blue face and 2 blue spots, and its head's gone. And then he was so excited by the fact the female had turned up, he just ran straight at her, straight at me, down the branch, and nearly knocked her off the branch.
With his special low-light camera, Stuart spends 8 weeks in the hide, capturing the first footage this clear of the bird of paradise in the wild and in full display.
I would say he's probably one of only about 3 cameramen that I work with and I know of that it could actually sit for so long, over such a long period, without going absolutely insane.
From the jungles to the mountains.
The most terrifying thing is these football-sized rocks that keep flying past at head height.
Planet Earth crews explored countless landscapes in search of the perfect shot. It took 3 years of filming to capture an elusive cat few people have ever seen in the wild.
We're up here in snow leopard country. These are big, big mountains, and there are not many snow leopards. If I take you inside, I'll show you the amenities. Very much 5-star. There's the bed, there's film stock. All I need now are 1 or 2 pussycats.
Mostly, it was a waiting game.
5 days. That's 35 hours of watching. No cats. Yeah, of course, it's boring. It's boring as hell.
After weeks on location, only a few seconds of footage are captured. A year later, a second crew tries again. At first, there is more disappointment.
I got a call from Jeff in the field in Pakistan, and he was utterly dejected. He said to me, "I'm really sorry, Vanessa, we've failed again, you know, and this was our 3rd snow leopard shoot." And I said, "Well, there's nothing we can do. The helicopter's coming after Christmas. Just see what happens."
But suddenly, persistence pays off. And on the final day of shooting, Planet Earth gets the ultimate prize.
We just got a report that there's a snow leopard up on the ridge.
Snow leopards, don't.
Cameraman Mark Smith captures footage of a snow leopard on the hunt A scene so rare, even scientists were amazed.
The cameraman, when he saw his shot and realized he'd managed to get it in focus, basically burst out in floods of tears. It was such an emotional release after so much effort, so much waiting. And he realized that he had seen something, and he had recorded, and it was in focus. Something that nobody on our planet has ever seen before.
From the top of the world to the greatest depths, Planet Earth crews endure day after day of darkness in some of the world's deepest caves.
I remember sitting on my own in one of the cave chambers, and I turned out my light, and I sat there in utter pitch blackness. And you've got to realize that when you're in a cave, there is no light whatsoever. None. You can't see that in front of your face. No sounds, no smell, nothing to see. I mean, it's as close as you can get to sort of like floating in space as you can imagine.
Capturing the scale of a massive mound of bat droppings required confronting conditions incredibly harsh on cameras and people.
Look at that. Thousands of cockroaches.
And we're back here with the biggest mound of doo-doo you've ever seen in the world. We're going to get dressed up and all this stuff, and you get cockroaches in your neck and down your pants, and do we have to go back up? 1 month in this muck. Nobody should have to live 1 month in poo.
A second crew climbs down a mile from the surface.
This is Lechuguiers. It's Boulder Falls, 150-foot drop into blackness.
A 9-hour trek through increasingly narrow passages.
We had to transport all the filming gear in there, including jibs, tripods, and desperately trying not to let something touch a crystal orb.
These crystals have formed over tens of thousands of years. You're using heavy equipment. You have to be so careful to keep what you're filming safe.
We went through these incredibly tight squeezes where sometimes you're literally just shaking one shoulder this way, one shoulder this way, you know, having to sort of back up and reverse and sort of squeeze your way around corners. And we got around one of these bends, and then our cave guide said, okay, if any of you have a serious injury now, we'll probably have to dynamite the cave to get you out.
But there, deep below the surface of the Earth, the crew films wonders that are rarely seen.
Again, remembering as a child seeing Journey to the Center of the Earth with James Mason, and they go down into these caves and there's crystals everywhere. And it's like a childhood memory awoken. It's like there are places like that. There are caves that just glisten with massive crystals.
Despite all the destruction that man has done to many parts of the world, there are still out there extraordinary wildernesses, vast areas, beautiful areas, and wonderful animals to be seen. Wherever you go around the world, man's footprint is very, very firmly felt. We hope that by celebrating the beauty that's left, we can inspire people to preserve what is still out there.
An epic television series transporting us to some of the world's most remote locations, bringing us closer than ever before to the wonders of planet Earth.